before we get really into class. I mean, I know there was some discussion about possibly doing a 10-minute nap situation and trying to see how quickly we can get to sleep.
It sounds better when you call it controlled narcolepsy.
Controlled narcolepsy, okay. That's the thing about narcolepsy. I don't know if it's controllable. It's kind of an oxymoron. So we'll have to play around with that and see if that's something we can do. I told the people who suggested it only if we can put our chairs like shoulder to shoulder and knee to knee, so we're like, on an actual airplane. Plus, I also said you can come in at 3:20 or you can stay until 4:35. Those would be two other options. So you can practice those 10 minutes or whatever it is. Yeah, 20 minutes, whatever it is. Yeah. But that's up to you guys. As far as exercising, I think it actually would probably be a really good idea for some of us to get in shape. And by some of us, I mean like me.
Women's weights on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
You what?
Women's weights on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5.
I'm not a woman. Sorry, Eric.
Tuesdays like noon, like in the middle of the day.
11.
Do you have a CrossFit?
Yeah.
CrossFit?
Yeah, and they make modifications for people.
They do make modifications.
Wait, is that just women's weights or is that for anybody?
Everyone.
Oh,
CrossFit's for everyone.
at 11?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Tuesdays and Thursdays. Oh my God, I'm gonna die.
You can wake up and work out with the cheer team at 6 a.m.
6 a.m.?
Yeah.
No, thank you. I'll let you do that. You
I'm
keep.
wash my hands.
Okay. Thanks. Yeah. So we should probably talk about that. The 11 a.m. time slot is definitely probably a good idea. I mean, we don't need to get like ripped or anything, but we definitely need to get cardio going so that we can keep up with the group and that we don't drag too far behind. Okay.
But if we're the most of the group, can't we set the pace?
Say that again.
If we're most of the group, can't we set?
We will not be most of the group. I believe the schools from, I'm pretty sure they said Michigan, is a much bigger group than ours. So.
Once the weather starts getting better, we could start doing like some walks around campus or something,
Yeah.
like as a group. But
Like purposely going down the hill to the post office and then walking back up that hill.
then eventually graduate up to like Gutbuster.
Yeah, that's crazy, but yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. I'm down with that. Cool. So as far as payment, make sure that you're still paying if you haven't fully paid. Keep in mind you should be paying monthly payments now because if you aren't, you should have already paid in full. We got all of our information in, which the lady was really pleased about for our passports because apparently the other school didn't. So that's a good thing. Trying to think what else. I talked to you already, right, Sarah, about your rooming situation. It's because you're a non-trad. I'm sorry. It's the only reason.
But it's a female, though.
Yes.
Oh.
So the thing is that when we room, your roommates will be the people from this group, for most of you. Okay. It looks like we'll probably have 3 ladies to a room. Are we missing anybody? No, we're not, right? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, there's 9. There's 9 total going on the trip. We keep losing people. Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate. But Brandon will be your roommate. And then the other 3 groups, I don't care who is roommates with who. Just that is correct. Yeah. So yeah, that's when we get there, and I'll basically say like, okay, room 1, ladies, here's your key. Room 2, ladies, here's your key. Sarah, here's your key. that kind of thing. And if I'm not handing out keys, Dr. C will be handing out keys. Okay. Do questions?
About hotels, do we know what hotel we're going to be in just yet or no?
We won't know any of that until we basically get our flight info, which will be in the next couple weeks.
Really?
So, really early. You what?
Then we could look at the hotels and see how big
We did that in class at one point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, the hotels are nice. I mean, they're not putting you in a hole in the wall, I don't think. So I could be wrong, but they're nice-ish. Ish. Keep in mind, because in America we have this standard for hotels, right? I mean, they are different. They are smaller. guaranteed to be
Is it
smaller.
smaller
So
than New
Shower
York
might be
City?
in the
'Cause
bedroom.
New York City was very small when I was in New York City.
They're around.
Itty-bitty.
they're probably about the.
Because I stayed in
Yeah.
a hotel like off of Times Square, and it's bigger
Those
than
were
that.
okay. Okay.
Well, I guess one of them was. It kind of just depends on how many beds are in there.
Okay.
Which all of you should have at least 2 beds. If not 2 beds, you'll have a bed and then a pull-out couch. So, yeah. Cool. Dr. C, did you have anything you wanted to ask or add or?
I don't think so, not until we get our flights and that stuff. But
Okay.
Good that we have everything else done. And the cost is firm, right?
But yeah, no, the cost does not change at this point. It is what it is. So, yes, Abby.
Are we gonna wait until after we get like our flight info and stuff, and then do like the class about like packing and
Correct. Yep.
travel tips? Because I talked to like Julie and Sarah and stuff, and they were like wanting to talk about that sooner rather than later, just to know.
Well, until we have an actual plane, there's really no reason for us to talk about it, right? I'm just saying. I mean, I don't.
Well, I think that what you're going to want is to see which airline they're flying with, so we can
Yes.
determine how big the carry-on can be, and the check luggage and all that. Once we figure out what airline, then we can look at policies. See what those look like. Now, in the meantime, what you could do is go ahead and, which we talked about with Sarah, try to figure out what kind of backpack that you want to carry on, and just be a little more intentional about that.
Yeah, because I mean, you'll take one big bag and maybe 2 smaller bags. But keep in mind, everything you take with you, you have to carry, because there will be an entire day where we will be traveling from Finland to Sweden, and that day when we check out, we have to check out early, and then we'll be on the road. So whatever, like walking. So all your luggage needs to be portable. Okay. Yes.
So like last time we got a backpack. Like EF gave us a backpack.
Yes.
Are they gonna do it again this year?
I would assume. Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
Then, did they say if we're like going by like charter buses this time again?
We should. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It shouldn't be. It should be very, very similar across the board. But did you go by charter bus last time?
Yeah, we like did
I would
like
think
the nice buses that we like were able to sit on and they had air conditioning.
Yes.
And then we
I don't know if we'll need air conditioning.
Yeah, we were
But
able to keep our luggage underneath the bus.
yes. Yeah. And that might be. It just depends on what we're doing that day, and when the bus actually picks us up. So.
And how long were you on that last trip?
We
How many
were
days?
12.
12 days.
It's around the same as this year's one.
And then do you remember what bags or which luggage you took?
I took like a medium, not a super like an oversized check on. I took like a decent sized one. I have a picture somewhere, and that was like enough. And then I took a small like a over the shoulder or crossbody bag that I could like as like a carry on. And then I took my purse.
So you really just had one luggage that you carried on.
Yep.
A personal item.
Yeah, I just took like a thing that I checked, like a bag check, a checked bag, and then I had like a backpack or like a over the shoulder bag that was big enough, like a backpack, and then my purse.
That'd be great if we could fit everything into just one
Mm-hmm.
check
And I
luggage
know
or
that
not
at
check carry-on
some
luggage.
point, some girls, they took on like a carry-on bag. They like had a purse and then they had like a roll-on carry-on,
Yeah.
which was like a smaller one,
Mm-hmm.
but they left it empty. That way, if they wanted to bring stuff back, they could bring it back in that. They had room.
Yep, that's exactly what I was going to suggest. But you got it.
One thing
Yeah,
that I've done too is like a carry-on suitcase,
Mm-hmm.
and then your bag, your big
Yeah.
bag, and then roll up like a flat, just roll up like an extra bag.
And that's the
Figure it
EF backpack was
Yeah.
like a decent size. It was like that, probably like this wide and like
Really?
this tall and like this wide.
Okay.
It was just like a flimsy backpack that had like good straps that you were able to roll up and you could put it in anything.
That's
Like
cool.
it wasn't like a backpack like this.
In worst case scenario, you could always carry on that EF bag, check your carry-on luggage on the way back.
Most airlines allow you a carry-on and a personal
Yeah,
item.
they have a carry-on
So,
and
like,
a personal item.
So usually that would include like a backpack would be your personal item,
Yeah.
and then like a
Roll-on.
roll-on or whatever.
Or like I did a purse just because like my purse was like a decent size, like my passport and that kind of stuff.
Under the seat.
Mhm.
Was the bag that you used like to put your clothes in, was it like a rolling bag or was
Mhm.
it like a duffel bag?
I used a rolling bag just because we are walking a lot and I
Yes.
didn't want to have to.
You definitely want a bag with wheels if you've got it, for sure.
I can pull up a picture of it. I know I have it somewhere.
While she's doing that, Abby's going to get ready. Actually, is that an iPhone?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll just have you project.
I can wait until after her presentation to show it to you.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay. I want to make sure I get the presentations in. So, so without further ado.
I do have a video. Am I gonna have audio? I'd rather do that now before I get to that slide.
Okay, let's do the video.
Well, not play the video, but just know if it's gonna work.
What slide is your video?
Should be like
Is that it?
20 something. 28.
This one? Yeah.
It's only 20 minutes long. I just want to make sure it'll work.
It should. Let me check my volume. Because it should be playing out of these guys. I don't know why they always turn these off. Just leave them on. Second. Good thing you checked with me.
That one's way better than ours.
What?
Syria?
Yeah.
It was. Yes. Oh yeah.
Well, it's not even.
Oh yeah, we did a story.
that-
I wrote a story
Out of here.
in this class.
Whoa.
That I went to Mexico.
Yeah.
I've never seen that before.
But we wrote a story about Buddy. I wrote a
Like
story.
a regular.
Yeah, just a regular size one about Buddy Bielsa taking a vacation. So that's like what it was, and then it just rolled. That way I could put my bag, my carry-on on top, and then
Same exact suitcase.
yeah. So I put my carry-on. Yeah, it's like a hard here and it's wide.
Yeah.
I have like a
I was
soft
trying to
one.
figure out like what
I
size.
have
Yeah.
and I love it when it's all in.
Yeah, no,
Because, like,
it wasn't
I've
as,
seen
and I just put my carry-on on top and I fold it in the back of my
It's like still comfortable, but I'm just worried about
Carry-on luggage, they're only like
TJ
this
Maxx.
big.
Yeah, they're not super.
My suitcase is also like it's a rolling suitcase.
And if
It's like a
it's too
carry-on
big,
size.
then they'll check it separate.
Yeah.
I want kind of like the medium.
There you go.
This is weird.
If there's enough room.
Oh, it's following me.
Yeah.
That is so weird. Okay, I just wanted to see it do it.
Yes.
Oh, can I start? Okay, so I had, whoops, this is not my first slide, sorry.
Oh, it's not. Sorry, my bad.
Okay,
There you go.
so I had finished cuisine, obviously. Okay, so before I get into like the food aspect of it, I just want to talk about my thoughts about like traveling and trying new things while you're traveling. So this picture is me trying something out of my comfort zone, and it obviously was a positive experience. It created a picture that everybody I've ever met, I've shown them because it's so funny. But I was born in Japan, so I come from a military family, so we've traveled I haven't traveled too many places, but they've lived my parents have lived all over the world, so they have gotten to try so many different types of food. So as I've grown up, I've gotten to try everything, anything you can think of, I've probably tried at some point. So that picture's me with a crawdad. I wasn't overseas or anything. I just tried at a restaurant, but we cook a lot of different types of food, and I hope I can travel more and experience different cuisines because that's really important to me. So my philosophy is you should try as much as you can while you're there because you just never really know, especially since a lot of us are going to be teachers in a couple of years. We might not be able to afford to go all these places after this, so I say try something out of your comfort zone, and you might actually really like it. You never know. So, yeah. Okay, so what are some of the common foods we might experience on the trip? The first one that I found is this Karelian pie. I'm not going to try to say all the names because they're all really pretty much like that. I don't really know how to say that. But this one is just like a little hand pie. It's made with rye flour, and then it's mostly filled with rice. Sometimes they'll have potatoes or carrots or other pretty plain fillings inside. And they put this egg butter on top of it. It's just boiled eggs chopped up with butter mixed together. So this is a pretty standard thing. And I know a lot of you say you're really picky, so throughout this presentation I'll probably be like, this one you'd probably want to eat. So this one's not too bad, right? I mean, it's pretty, I think most of you would give it a try.
I get behind it.
Yeah.
Is this for like breakfast or is it just like
Um,
any kind of meal?
No, it's just like any meal, pretty much. Yeah. This one's a little bit less appetizing to most people. It's pretty much the same as the Karelian pie, but they fill it with fish. So for them, it's kind of like their standard packed lunch. So like we'll bring like a sandwich or something, but they bring this. So it looks so good,
Is that
right?
like raw fish?
No, it's cooked.
Looks raw.
I mean, I guess I don't know for sure. Though some of it looks cooked. I can't really tell exactly, but I mean, I would try it. Like I said, I will try any food once, so I will give it a try if I have the chance.
You're
So.
wild. I would not try that.
I would try it,
No.
but I would probably need
Some tartar?
no.
I don't know if they have
a
that.
trash can next to me. Just
It doesn't look that bad.
No, that looks rough.
that looks rough.
Okay, well, whatever.
Ah,
Better,
there
okay.
you go.
So these are just sausages. I can say that word, grilli macara. I think that's how you say it. But they just eat these with mustard and beer. It's a common like summertime. Yeah, those sound pretty good. Summertime food. So we're kind of there like right in the cutoff between spring and summer. So we'll probably see it while we're there. And then it's like a snack for kids. So I thought that was kind of fun.
Or adults.
Not with the beer, but. And then rye bread. I think we've all probably tried rye bread, but over there it's really dense and flat bread, and then it's usually in a donut shape like that one is. And then this, I'm not really sure how to say that either, but is like the cracker form of it. So it's like it looks like a graham cracker, but this is in like all of the pictures, especially of the school lunches. They eat like the little bread cracker things like a lot. So they eat it as like a snack or as like a side with their soup or something. So cinnamon buns, these look pretty good. They eat them with coffee pretty much like all the time. And this is a fun fact that I think should be on the test because it's really interesting. Finns actually consume more coffee per capita than any other country in the world. So I thought that was interesting. And then something else. This is just like a random thing that happened to me. But I was typing the names into like Google Translate to see like what it translated to because most of them were just exact translations. But this one translates to slap in the face.
It's so good.
Wake
It's
up.
so good.
So I'm not really sure why. I mean, I think it's because like some foods have like the name isn't just like cinnamon bun. It's like kind of like a little like phrase. I can't think of a food that we call that, but I think it actually is like a different phrase in Finnish. So these are the berries that they eat a lot. The red ones are lingonberries. You're gonna see those a lot in all of the dishes. And then the orangish ones are cloudberries. I've had cloudberry jam. It's interesting.
Are they sweet or?
It's kind of sour to me. It's
They
kind
look
of
sour. They look like
they're
normal
kind of weird. They don't look like normal berries. And then those are bilberries down there. They're just blueberries, but they're just grown in a different place, so different continent. But they use these for pies, jams, and juices. And then the lingonberries especially, you'll see like on a ton of dishes. They just eat it with like everything. So this is fish and new potatoes. The new potatoes are just like the little round potatoes. They just cook them in like butter and dill. And then a common dish is just eating the potatoes with fish, or they'll have them plain. And this is served midsummer, but it's a pretty standard dish, so I think we'll probably see it while we're there. So.
What is that? The little soft stuff there.
It's got dill in it, and it's got it's definitely got dill in it.
Yeah, it kind of just looks. It looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like it looks like
Probably
it's like
dip
a.
for the fish or the potatoes.
Yeah.
Okay.
The fish looks good though.
Yeah, I think the fish looks okay.
I might eat that fish after I peel
Better.
it. I don't do the skin.
Okay, so this is like their standard. Yeah, this is like their standard plate.
Rudolph's tasty.
I want to try it. I'm gonna try reindeer if I can. I don't know when else I'm gonna eat it. So, but this is like their standard plate. So like they have pretty much like potatoes, meat, and lingonberry jam. Like that's like a super common dish just in general. But yeah, so this one's just made with reindeer. So I think we should.
Delicious.
It actually. I think it looks pretty good. I want to try reindeer while I'm there. I don't know when else I'm gonna try it. So. Yeah, this one's called Finnish squeaky cheese. It's just like made with milk basically, and they cook it in like a pan, like a pie sort of, and they cut it into wedges, and they eat it like in slices with cloudberry jam, like exclusively cloudberry. So it's not really sweet. It's just kind of like, from what I read, it's just sort of like creamy, and then the jam is sweet. So it's a really common Finnish food.
Is that like the salty and sweet kind of?
I think so. I'm not sure if it's salty, but it's very like creamy and yeah, I don't know. It's really common, so we'll probably see it, and I think I want to try it. It's kind of different.
Like a cream cheese, maybe?
I think it's harder, like firmer than that, but because they can slice it, so. But yeah, they call it cheese bread, so I'll probably try that. I think that sounds pretty good.
Sure.
This is another one. To some people, sounds not very appetizing.
I've had this.
Did you like
from
it?
Finland. Yeah, we had a foreign exchange student, she brought it. This is disgusting.
No, it says it's
It is
delicious.
so gross. It's
Well,
And
What did it
addictive.
taste like? Like, was it
very, very, very salty.
Really?
Like, just very.
Like salty black licorice?
Yep.
Yes.
staying away from that?
well,
Do you like black licorice?
no.
Okay.
But I will
love
eat
black
it.
licorice, but the salty on that was weird.
Well, what I read was that people, even like tourists and locals, said it was really delicious, and that they really missed it when they came back to the United States if they were traveling. Maybe.
Yeah, but the problem is it tastes like black licorice.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Maybe the salty will make it taste better, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
I don't know.
I'm gonna try. I don't
If
even like
offered, I'll
licorice.
try
I'm
it.
gonna try it.
Yeah, if you buy a bag, I'll take a
If
bite.
you
But I'm not, but
buy
I'm
a
not-
bag.
I'll buy it back. I want to try it.
I'm spending my own money.
This is another one I think that most of you guys would probably want to try. It's like a wheat sweet porridge, and they use lingonberries for it. When it's cooled down, it has like a mousse consistency. It kind of looks like sorbet to me.
Mhm.
I don't know. It is like a porridge, so it might have a bit of a different texture. But this is common in Finland and Sweden, and then I guess it's on like most dessert menus, so we can probably give it a try while we're there. Salmon soup. You can't really avoid salmon when you're over there. It's kind of with everything. I love salmon. I love it. But this is just like a salmon soup. They use salmon fillets, boiled potatoes, dill, and leeks. It's pretty plain, like most of their dishes are. And then it's a common spring meal, so we'll probably see it while we're there in the spring. Rice pudding. They eat this a lot in the winter, like in the holidays, but they also said it's like a breakfast item. So I don't know if we'll be having breakfast like from the hotel or if we're going to be able to go out for breakfast. I don't really know that yet, but
Breakfast and lunch are usually provided. It's dinner that usually is on your own. And by dinner I mean supper. Sorry.
but
Rice pudding is really good. I've had that.
I call it dinner, but
You just had the last supper.
but they usually put like cinnamon and sugar on it, or butter or jam. So I think that looks pretty good. I
I've
don't
had
know.
it before. It's really good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
You've had Finnish rice pudding?
Well, no, I've had
Okay.
rice pudding.
Right. I just wanted to make sure. Because I never would have guessed you would have had salty licorice before. So.
Okay, so this one's kind of weird. It's pea soup and pancake. It's just like they just serve these together, and they serve it on Thursdays only. It's just a tradition. They said it was just something they do. So
Like grilled cheese Wednesday here?
I guess there's not really a definitive reason. It's just served on Thursdays. So the pancake's not really a pancake. It's more of like a crepe, and it just has whipped cream and berry jam on top. And then I guess it's just really traditional, and they have it on Thursdays. It's just
Is the pea soup just peas?
Looks like there might be some carrots in there.
yeah,
but,
it's just like
yeah.
basic. Have you ever had pea soup before?
Looks like a poopy diaper. Thankfully,
Yeah.
it doesn't smell like it.
This looks like
Does
it's
it-
green
does it
tea. It
taste
looks
pretty
like navy bean or
Huh?
something.
Have you had
You're
pea
right.
soup before? Does
Yeah.
it taste pretty good?
I like pea soup.
It tastes like peas.
Yeah, it
Oh,
tastes like
okay.
peas, and it has like carrots and stuff in it. I like pea soup. I think it's kind of a
Yeah, I
weird
mean-
combination, but
I
like
like
these
peas.
two.
If I like
Uh-huh.
peas, will I like it?
Yes.
And
Do you
on
like
Thursdays.
peas though?
No, she does.
Yeah.
You do like peas?
I do like peas.
What? You don't like peas too?
Okay, well now I'm sketch.
No, you got it. Yeah, I hate peas. And,
It's a texture thing.
yeah, because it's like, it's not whole peas that you mush it up.
They don't like soup.
Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad.
It's pretty good. This is another soup. This is sausage soup. So it's basically another. Their soups are pretty like standard. They just have like a meat in them and then just like potatoes and stuff. So they eat it with rye bread, usually with like their rye cracker thing. This is another like meat, potato, and
Meatballs, yeah,
that's
IKEA.
that's actually the picture from IKEA. I've had that before. It's good.
It's delicious.
Yeah. So that's just like another standard potato meat
Oh, IKEA's
jam
Swedish,
dish.
Their mashed potatoes look really good. Like
Come on.
lots of butter.
There we go.
That looks good.
I get behind that too.
Well, this one's actually not really in restaurants that much. This one's more of just like a traditional food that they have, but it's just like a casserole with macaroni noodles and meat, and they call it like their broke college student meal because I guess like they make it a lot. You can just throw like all your ingredients. It's like quick and easy. It's kind of like our like mac and cheese. But I did read that it's not really in restaurants as much. It's more of like a home cooked meal, but it's possible. We might see it. Stuffed cabbage. I love stuffed cabbage. I love it. It's so good.
Where did you have that?
I've had it at home.
Oh.
Yeah, we just like made it. But they fill it with like beef.
I love casseroles.
I think they look good. But they have like beef, rice, and onion in them, and then they eat it with mashed potatoes and jam.
Every child.
But they called it every child's worst nightmare because it's kind of like Brussels sprouts or something here. Like all the kids don't want to eat it. But I think it looks pretty good.
I'm curious as to what the kids like, you know?
Yeah.
Hot sausages, remember?
Yeah.
They
It's
only
like
eat
different. This one I think you guys might like this one. It's like a summer dish and they have it at like the markets. Like they sell it in like the little paper like things that you get food from like the market and stuff. Kind of like in the Bob when you have like those things. They sell it like that.
cooked fish.
Yeah, it's like fried little. They're like I think they're like whole fish right there, but they're just fried and then it's served with aioli. So I think that sounds like one of the most delicious ones so far. But does fish sound better if it's fried? Does that make it more
Yes.
appetizing? That's what I thought.
Oh, even if you leave the head off of it, I don't think
Yes,
you leave the
that's
head
me
off.
too.
I don't
Leave
care.
that fish head and then I'll eat the rest.
Okay. This is another one I think you guys might want to eat a little bit more than the other one. But it's just a meat pie. It's like dough that's fried with just meat and rice inside. It's pretty plain, but I read that you can get it in the stores, but it's better if you buy it like at a street kiosk, like while you're walking around, because it's really greasy and delicious. So I think we should give it a try.
With beer and mustard. Yeah. I mean, with mustard.
This is like pickled herring, basically. I think Sammy's really excited to try this. She's been
Yeah.
talking about it for weeks.
I'll give you $10 to eat it.
I'll give
And
you
swallow it.
Is it raw?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's
I'll take
yeah,
it.
but it's, my parents want me to bring back some of these, so
You can bring that back?
I think
Yeah.
it comes in like a jar. So
You have to check it through customs.
Kind of like pickled pig's feet, sort of, you know?
I don't
Okay, that
think-
sounds
I'm not sure you're helping.
that sounds worse. This is just fish. This is a lot better than pig's feet. But
What do you guys eat?
Yeah, for real.
What do we eat? Or
Pickled pig's feet?
Well, she's just being silly. I don't think she's ever had it.
I mean, it's a thing, but
It is a thing.
I don't eat things like
I
that.
think
Have
my
you ever
parents
had
have
cow's
eaten it.
tongue?
Yeah, I've had that.
Delicious. It tastes like roast beef.
Have you ever had chicken's heart?
Yeah, I've had that.
No.
I've had like
You gotta
everything.
get out more, girl. Man.
I've had like everything. So
The Rocky
Sammy, I'm with
Mountain.
you. I don't know what the heck they're eating, but it's not correct.
we eat a lot of weird things at my house. This is another fish. It is raw technically, but it's cured, so it's fine to eat. It's just cured in salt, sugar, and dill, and then they pretty much eat this like with anything. Like it's like a common appetizer. They'll put it on like the little rye crackers, or they'll just eat it plain. I mean, yeah.
Ravioli.
Graviolo. Oh yeah.
Ravioli.
Right, yeah.
Instead of rabbit.
And then yeah, there's just a lot of
Yes,
salmon.
well,
You can't really get away. We're eating this on the excursion
Yes, we are.
in the forest, so that sounds pretty good. You can't really get away from salmon because they have it a lot. Okay, so transitioning over to like school lunches. I'm gonna play this video.
Already looks better than our school lunches.
There's that rye bread you're talking about. I see it.
Okay, it's working. They're really excited about it.
Ooh, no.
That's very true. That's not the only reason.
saves their jackets.
Although that does look
Okay, our food does not look good.
Okay, come on now.
Our cafeteria food now is worse than that. James.
True.
That's true.
That's my stuff.
Like the happy music we got.
Okay.
Yes, let's go over
Okay. So a few facts about Finland's school lunches. Their meals or their lunches are free for all students, and they've been doing that since 1948. They were actually the first country in the world to offer free school lunches. And they view free lunches as an investment in their country's future. So basically they're saying, like, we're going to allot this much money to give towards lunches, which looks like a lot, but it's going to take off money from other budgets in the future because the kids, they're eating well, so they're learning more. And then healthcare too. I mean, it's helped the kids' health. It's more of a long-term philosophy, but I kind of like that outlook. I think it is a good investment. And then they follow the model of an ideal plate, which we kind of talk about here a little bit, but our school lunches like definitely don't follow this. So basically the plate, half of it should be vegetables, and then a quarter of it is meat or fish. I read that they actually only have meat or fish like twice a week or 2 or 3 times a week. And then the other quarter is grains and starches.
That plate looks delicious though, Finland's.
It does.
It's like colorful.
Just so you know, in the United States, they school lunch programs, according to the federal government, allows grains to sometimes be set in place of proteins.
What?
Don't ask me why, but yeah, that's how they because why? Because bread is cheaper.
Cheaper.
Yeah.
All has to do with the dollars.
Yep.
And I think they can count like potatoes as their vegetable or something.
That is correct.
My mom's a lunch lady, so she's really excited for me to she wants me to take a ton of pictures, and she's gonna share them with all of her lunch lady friends, and they're gonna talk about how much they hate working there. So what do they value in school lunches? They value plenty of time to eat and relax. So the average lunchtime is a whole hour. I think for elementary it said they usually have like 30 minutes, and then they have like a 30-minute recess, but that's still a lot more than like what our kids are usually getting. I mean, in my school it was usually like 15 minutes to eat and then maybe like 20 minutes for recess. So
Well, and imagine teachers like getting a little bit longer to just kind of cool down and have a break.
yeah, they like to have a clean, well-lit cafeteria, small tables for conversation. They focus on the taste and the temperature of their food. They want the presentation to be tempting. They make the food from scratch every day. I don't know if they do that in every single place, but that's kind of what
They probably do.
Yeah. And then the food is healthy and fresh. So all of these priorities help emphasize their goal of a pleasant, unhurried atmosphere that promotes good manners and the pleasure of eating together. I just think that's so cute. Their little motto about school lunches. To finish off, I just have a few pictures that I found. So pretty much every single one, they have like a cold salad as part of their like vegetables, and then they pretty much always have like a rye bread. There's those. And then in these ones they have like shredded vegetables a lot of the time. And it looks like a graham cracker, but it's just their
That's
rye.
their rye bread.
Yeah, it's their rye bread.
And
Yeah,
what's
they
next
have-
to the rice.
I think that's like a meat gravy type thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
Probably salmon.
yeah.
Some kind of salmon gravy, maybe chicken gravy. I don't know if they have chicken.
I didn't see like any chicken when I was looking
This
through
looks
this.
Might be
really good.
reindeer gravy.
That looks a little like to be a reindeer.
And then this one was like advertised as the vegetarian option, but I'm pretty sure this is salmon. So I'm not sure if they're like pescatarian or
Watermelon.
I mean, I don't think they put their watermelon like touching the sauce.
I would highly doubt if they had watermelon there.
Yeah, I didn't see any.
Watermelon's on the thing there.
I would doubt it. You know how expensive it would be to transport it from like America or Venezuela or wherever
It looks
you
good.
get it from?
Yeah, they all look really good. And they do, as you can see, like they have cold salads like every day. So.
That pudding thing on the bottom left looks good.
That's refried beans.
No. You think that's refried beans? It
And
might
No,
it looks
I think it's
It looks
crispier on the
Mexican.
top.
Mexican-ish.
I think it's pudding.
That's
Okay. So, do you have any questions or comments for me?
What are you most looking forward to eating?
I'm probably just most looking forward to like seeing the school lunches and trying the school lunches. That's just.
But you did not answer my question. What do you want to eat? Like the one thing, like you.
School lunch can't be an answer to that?
You just the whole school lunch?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm
yeah.
just curious. I also like the fried fish, the ones they sell like on the street in the markets.
Yeah.
That sounds really good to me.
With the aioli.
Yeah, that sounds so good.
Aioli sounds good.
Aioli sounds
the
good.
fried-
Just the aioli.
The fried veg is
Yeah, that sounds good.
I like the soft cheese and the smoked salmon.
the cheese bread. I think the cheese bread with the berries and like
Yeah,
sounds pretty
that's
good.
gonna be good.
Yeah.
Cool. Any other questions, guys?
I'm definitely less scared after like you actually showed us what like a school meal looks like. I think that's a better idea of like what they're eating in the homes as well, and I think that looked a lot more appetizing. And so
Yeah.
This isn't really about food, but if they're getting an hour for lunch, how long are their school days? I don't know. I'm probably not about that.
They're
I think
shorter
they're
than our
shorter.
school days.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Yeah, I think
Like,
it's a
everything's
different.
blocked out.
There was many recess.
Because they do like 15 minutes of eating, like maybe 15 to 20 minutes of recess. It's not long. And then like everything else is like 15 to 30 minutes sometimes recess.
I forgot I'm supposed to walk next to the
Are you
person
talking about
speaking.
here?
Yeah, here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Here it's very much a. Here it's very much a. We've got to smash so much into so little time, and so what usually gets taken away?
Lunch and recess.
Lunch usually gets cut off a couple of minutes here or there. Recess for sure. And these are the things that we need. Our students need that physical exercise. They need to get their energy out. So when they go back into the classroom, it's like, okay, now I can learn again. Good. And I got my time. I got my break. My brain break. A big one. But, there's a ton of research about how important recess is. And yet we keep getting rid of it. So.
I forgot about this already.
No, it's fine. We'll see what happens.
Did you see anything about like the breakfasts that they'll be having there, like for like the hotels and stuff, like what we'll be eating?
The only one I saw specifically was like the rice one, but I feel like I read on the EF page that like the hotels kind of give like a standard breakfast
I just know that
for many
when
different
we
locations.
went to like in London, like the breakfast options were a little bit different than what it was in Amsterdam and Vienna because they have different concepts of breakfast.
Yep.
So like at one place they like didn't have a lot of like eggs or like pancakes. They more had like bread and that kind of stuff instead of like what we consider breakfast food.
Yeah, you won't
And
see.
they have deli slices, like they had like cold cuts.
Exactly, yep. You will not probably see things like bacon and sausages or even scrambled eggs for that matter.
It was more.
You will most likely see exactly what you're talking about. A lot of breads, a lot of cold cuts. Maybe you might have smoked sausages because of the location. They might even serve soup for breakfast. It seems like they really enjoy soup, so who knows? Okay. It'll be an adventure, whatever we do, for sure. Right? I mean, what an opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is.
Like, I'm seriously stoked. 85 days, really? 85 days. It's coming. It's coming. All right. Anything else, Abby? All right. Thank you very much. All right. Oh, sorry, it's my bad. I gotta get rid of this.
So if they don't have chickens, do they have eggs?
Well, but it might be like goose eggs or something along those lines. Duck eggs, quail eggs, yep.
Okay.
I've only had chicken.
They're pretty simple.
Oh, that looks so good.
Okay, I'm getting a little lunch.
What's that gray thing in the middle?
Green thing.
It's going slowly.
No, it's loading.
That's what it wants you to think.
So that like little pie thing she told us about with
The egg
rice
butter?
and the egg butter, that's a traditional breakfast like hotel breakfast that you see, like rye bread with like toppings of butter, cold cuts, cheese, and veggies, like cucumbers or tomatoes, and then porridge and finished coffee with some milk.
Coffee.
Okay, so my presentation is over food in Sweden, and this is like a typical packed lunch for students, and it has, I believe this is salmon, cucumbers, oranges, like a rye cookie, and then more bread, a hard-boiled egg, and some cheese.
Rye bread is the thing to eat.
Oh yes. Okay, so first I'm going to look at food in the school systems, just because this is kind of what came to me first in my research, and I was super interested in it. So there's free lunch for all students. Most schools will go up to age 16, since that's when their like high schools end. But some of them will even go all the way up to age 19 in some of the select universities and general schools. All the school lunches are home-cooked meals. They're made from scratch. They encourage schools to use fresh vegetables. Some schools even grow their own vegetables in their health programs and use that in the school lunches, as well as fruits. And then they also use fresh fish. And then they actually have like fishermen come to the schools, bring it in. And then on top of that, lunch in the curriculum, when they bring the fresh fish in, they actually have students come back, meet the fishermen that bring their lunch. It's highly encouraged to all students at some point to come in and see what's going on behind the scenes, see how their lunch is made, learn the nutritional value of it. They meet the people that bring it, they meet the farmers that come in, and I just thought that was a cool experience, how students are actually in the place where their lunch is made. They see the benefits of it, and then they actually see like why it's so important for them to get all the health and nutritional stuff. So that was pretty cool. And then on the side there, that's kind of what some of the lunches look like. That's like a potato soup, the rye bread with like a yogurt substance in it. They made it into a sandwich. And then lingonberry juice.
If they grow vegetables and stuff, all of a sudden it gets cold out.
Some of them have places in their school like greenhouses almost, and they use that just like we would. So from the students' perspective, students actually get to decide their own portion sizes. I don't know about you guys, but when I went to school, we had the lunch ladies who stood and they took the spoon, they throw it on your plate, and they're like, next. But students actually go through, it's all like a self-serve, kind of like what we do here on campus. So they get to decide their own portion sizes. They can take as much or as little of something as they want. Like me, I was a picky student, so I was like, I'm going to find the least amount of vegetables to put on my plate as possible. However, they are encouraged. They have 1 to 3 entree options every day, usually a fish or 2, and then a meat. They have all different kinds of sides. They have an all-you-can-eat cold salad bar with lots of different toppings. That's kind of what their salad bar looks like. They always are offered some sort of bread, milk, and water, along with sometimes they'll have a juice, but they always have milk or water as an option. And then every school is required to also have vegetarian options available to all the students. So they choose nutrition over their budget. So I actually read an article over this lunch lady right here. She works in a school. She makes everything handmade. She's actually got some education in being like a professional chef. She's got all those skills. Not all schools in Sweden require that, but most schools do, and they're starting to be more popular and having people who have actual education towards it. Just because then they're able to see the nutritional value, they're able to pick the right choices, right vegetables, pair things together nicely. And then also when students come in, they're able to gain those more professional skills in the kitchen. All the schools' lunches are paid for by taxes, and the schools work within the budget. And I actually was surprised to find out that their lunch program is cheaper than like paying for our lunch programs here. And then students are also given the nutrition that they need. They said every student usually hits the box of what they need in a typical lunch day setting.
Just a minute. So why do you guys think that it would be cheaper than an American lunch?
Because our foods are really processed.
Yeah, but that would make it cheaper. I mean, that would make it, cheaper because you don't have the real meat or the real whatever. What'd you say, Sarah?
They grow their own food and they have the fishermen come in. I mean, that's got to be cheaper than transportation.
Absolutely. And keep in mind, the food that we have here at American schools is ran by a company whose job is to make what? Money. So it's totally different than what they're talking about here. What they're talking about here is nutrition. They need to eat good food. They need to be healthy. They need to be able to get through a school day without that 2:30 crash, right? So yeah, there's your big difference. It's not controlled by a company to make money. Thank you.
Yep, and like what they said in the interview with her is nothing is like frozen. Everything is fresh. They don't do process. They don't do anything like that. So I thought that was kind of neat. So food in the workplace over there. So when people are on the job, they always have the option of free coffee and free water that's available at any job you go to in Sweden. It's a requirement for all workplaces to offer both. Most people reported on a survey that they either make dinners on Sunday for the week and they box them up, or they eat leftovers from the week. The other option was they go out to restaurants, which lunch specials are pretty common. I mean, like we would have lunch specials here, but they said there, like, it's a bigger deal for a lunch special just because, like, everyone's working. And then actually they said it's being more and more common to have brunch specials on the weekends, which is a big thing because they don't typically do breakfast over there. So, like they have breakfast foods, but it's not common for people to sit down and have breakfast. Like it might be for some of us over here. Then they also have this new program called the Lunch Beat that's being implemented in some of the workplaces. So a Lunch Beat manifesto is workers are encouraged to dance for a straight hour. You don't have to dance the whole time, but like people come and go. But if you participate and you come and you dance a little bit, kind of shake off the morning and get ready for the afternoon. It's supposed to help energize them, but they also walk away with a free meal if they participate. So there's an hour-long period where this works. It helps them recharge for the day. And they're still working on getting this implemented in most workplaces. But it also, it's always changing right now. They haven't found out quite the rules and regulations for it. So, now the fun part, food for everyone, which is stuff like we'll eat while we're over there. So, I got really excited for this part because I was like, oh my gosh. And because, to be honest, when I first started doing this PowerPoint, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's going to be all fish. So, I'm a picky eater, but I think we will survive in Sweden. So, okay, so for breakfast, they have a smorgas, and that's what this is. It's kind of like an open-faced sandwich. Usually they just have like a protein and a meat, or so like a meat and like an egg or something on it. But a lot of people add like cucumbers, tomatoes, some kind of fish, lettuce, things like that, to their smorgas. So those are a homemade meal, but you can also find those out in restaurants, they said. They have mazuli and filmajolk. Please pardon how I pronounce these. Me and Google did not get along when I was doing this. So that's this one. It looks kind of like an oatmeal. So the mazuli is either grain type stuff, cornflakes, and then some people add dry berries, whether it's raisins, cranberries, the lingonberries, or things like that, and they'll mix it all together. The filmajolk we'll see later on in the presentation, so I'll explain that more when we get to it. But just right here, it's a quick little, it's soured milk similar to buttermilk, they said. And then they have kaffe, which is coffee. They have some of the strongest coffee in the world, and they are the second leaders in drinking the most coffee. So I thought that was interesting that you had it in your presentation. And then there's something with coffee, which once again, we'll get to that deliciousness here in a moment. So some of the traditional food that we'll see when we go over there is, for meat, they have Swedish meatballs, which I'm sure most of you are familiar with, because anytime I typed in Sweden, meatballs popped up. So there will be lots of meatballs. They also have a hash, which is meat, potatoes, and some kind of vegetable, usually mashed together. And then they cook it in like a casserole type pan. That's your hash. They have sausages, and then they have pea soup with pork, which again in Sweden, it's tradition on Thursdays to have it. They said pretty much any restaurant you go into will be serving pea soup as a Thursday like dish.
I don't know why.
Yeah, I couldn't find anything out. Yeah, they just said it's been going on for like years. And then for fish, while we're over there, crayfish is a huge one that we'll see. Caviar is also over there, so I don't know if you guys have ever had caviar, but they said over in Sweden it's actually a lot cheaper, just because it's right there. So if you want to try caviar, this will be the place to do it. Pickled herring is a big thing over there, as well as fermented herring, which fermented herring, under everything I read about it, said is one of the most disgusting foods you will ever.
Sounds like it. I do not doubt
Like,
it.
First of all, you have pickled herring, okay?
Yeah.
Which is raw pickled fish. Then you're gonna rot that and ferment. Why?
Yeah, they said it's like one of the most disgusting things ever.
Will you try it?
Yeah.
You'll try fermented herring?
Oh gosh.
What? You don't even like fish.
You don't even.
Oh, you love. Oh, sorry.
I don't
You
like fish.
Okay.
Okay, so bread is a huge staple in pretty much any meal that you go over there. Like anything you get, there will be bread available. So for you, those of you who are like, I really don't like anything, but I can do bread. That's me. So I'm super excited about this piece. Tunnbröd is a wrap. So it's a really thin white bread actually. And it's usually served with either sandwiches, wraps, or like the open face sandwiches. They'll use it for that sometimes. And then the knäckebröd is a hard loaf bread. It's more of your dense dip in stuff kind of bread. And then don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, there are fast food options available in Sweden, which I thought I'd bring up because you never know. They have pizza over there, like pizza fast food restaurants. But they said beware and be very careful of what kind of pizza you get, because sometimes they put things on there like raisins, French fries, fish. I mean, they said it like doesn't matter. Like they'll put it on a pizza. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So beware of the pizza you order. Really read what it has on it. They have pasta restaurants. They have kebab restaurants. You can also find sushi and Thai restaurants, they said. And then, of course, they have the typical McDonald's and Burger King. But this one up here is Sibylla. And it's like their version of like a McDonald's, Wendy's, that kind of thing. It's your burgers, fries, that kind of thing. It's really good. They said it's a big one. Yeah.
I found the thing about pea soup.
You did?
Yeah, it says preparing pea soup on Thursday stems from the fasting orders of the Catholic Church during the Middle Ages. Eating heavily on the Thursday helped Catholics get through fasting on Friday. And that, since it is closely related to that.
Okay.
Pea soup will fill you up for that?
I don't know. The history
Well,
of
that's
pea
pork
soup is
in it,
closely
too.
connected to the arrival of Christianity.
Yeah,
So,
that makes sense.
Okay. So now we know about pea soup and why we're going to have it on Thursdays, apparently. Get out of here. Okay. So, more traditional food is vegetarian options for anyone who's looking to go down that route. Most potato dishes that they prepare will be vegetarian, or if you ask for a vegetarian option, they'll give you majority of it will be like potato dishes that they serve. They also have hard cheeses that are for your vegetarian options, and then most pizza and pasta dishes are. They said if anyone here is a vegetarian that you're going to be pretty hard pressed to find some meals. They said they do have options, but if you're going out to a restaurant, it's typically pretty difficult to find like a full-on vegetarian option unless you like specifically request it or ask for it. So if anybody's thinking about that. And then desserts. So they said if you've got like a sweet tooth, Sweden is the place to be. They've got all sorts of pastries and cookies, and usually they are either cream-filled or completely and utterly doused in sugar. And then they have semla, which is a sweet roll filled with cream. They said they're like this big. So, and they, like, when they say stuffed with cream, I watched a video and they literally opened it and it was just like more cream than donut. So,
So when we're tweens, this is gonna be my meals.
yeah, so take your insulin with you guys.
You're not gonna eat in Finland, just in Sweden.
Everything, like we're prepared, like we're like, oh, let's go, like prepare and get fit.
Then we're gonna go to Sweden and eat a bunch of sweet rolls.
Cream-filled dough.
Yes, and like the sweet rolls is a big thing on Fat Tuesday. Like it's tradition to like eat a ton of these, to eat those on Fat Tuesday.
Is that every Tuesday or just Fat Tuesday?
Just Fat Tuesday.
Okay.
I mean, if you want to eat all those on every Tuesday, more power to you. Support you. And then, so typical drinks in Sweden. So I thought I'd bring this up because we talked about it. Alcoholic drinks in Sweden are very expensive. You have to go to certain bars that I can't pronounce to even get actual alcoholic drinks. The legal age over there is 18, but most places will not serve you if you are under the age of 20. Strong drinks are only allowed in certain bars, and what you will see almost everywhere is Absolut vodka because Sweden is where it was originated. But with most meals, Svedka, yeah, it's also. But in most restaurants with most meals, they offer you a range of beers and microbrews with almost every meal. So it's typical to see an alcoholic beverage with a meal.
You think they'll know how to make a Long Island iced tea?
See, we all turned 21. Like, I turned 21 May 15th. She turns 21 May 14th, and yours is May 11th. So,
Let's get your partying out of the way before we.
I don't turn 21 until I'm there. My first birthday is my birthday. Can I just have one?
No, yeah, you can have one.
The legal age is 18.
Yeah.
You're fine.
Okay.
I think all you're gonna need is one drink, though.
Oh yeah.
They're telling it's not strong.
Excuse me. So for their soft drinks, again, coffee. I'm gonna just keep saying this because in every post I read and every article and everything I looked at, coffee was with it. They drink some of the most coffee in the world. They are number 2. And it is extremely strong coffee, they said.
Is it like taking an espresso shot?
They said if you're going to do it, do not ask for a second espresso shot because you will be shaking the entire day. Like if you're not used to having that strong a coffee, like they said for most tourists, do not order a second espresso.
I'll be in heaven.
Yeah.
Stay away. So.
Because they said it's intense. Like start slow because a lot of tourists come in and they get like too caffeinated almost. So. And then of course.
They don't know America.
They also have regular sodas. Coke is a huge thing over there. So these are actually like Swedish Cokes. If you could read the really little print right there, it's in Sweden.
Sarah, your name's up there.
Yeah, Sarah made the presentation. And then Julmas, I'm hoping we can find some more over there because they absolutely raved. They said this is only done primarily during the holidays, but sometimes you can find it during like the summer season. But they said when this like sells during Christmas time, it cuts Coke's products in half. Like it takes off 50% of Coke sales.
So it's like a soda.
It is. It's like a really creamy soda, they said.
Oh my.
And it's stout. But yeah, so they said, I just thought that was crazy that it took like that much of like Coke's products. Okay, so top foods to try. So you guys cool if we do an activity just to get you up and moving? Okay, so sort of. I don't have food for you to taste, but
Whatever, we got donuts.
yeah. All right, so go ahead and stand up. Okay, so these are the top 5 foods to try while we're over there. I checked this on 3 different lists, and these were all the top 5 every time. They were in different orders sometimes, but pretty close to this. So, number 5 is foraged berries. Strawberries, mushrooms, blueberries were the top ones to try.
Berries?
I know, but they put mushrooms in the berry category.
Got it.
So foraging is like a super huge thing over there. Like it's a rite of passage as a child is you go like foraging for food. You can find it in most local shops. So like as we're walking through the marketplace and stuff, they recommended you to buy some. But actually, they're finding more of the marketplaces now, and it's becoming a more popular thing to buy it. So if you would like to try forage berries, go to this side of the room.
Does that include mushrooms?
Yeah, that includes mushrooms.
I mean, I'm not gonna try the mushrooms, but I'll try the
If
strawberries.
you just want to try strawberries, it counts. You can go over here.
I don't like strawberries. Can I just try
Do
the
they have
blueberries?
Yeah, you just try the blueberries.
Do they have blackberries?
I did not see blackberries anymore. They have the lingonberries.
And those
Cloudberries?
pumpkin berries. Cloudberries.
And then, yeah, they said the strawberries are like massively sized.
Can we forage for them ourselves?
Sure. Maybe when we're on our excursion, we can go foraging. Okay, so the next one is Toast Skagen. It's like a prawn cocktail. I don't know if you guys have ever had that, but this is a more luxurious version. It's mayonnaise, dill, lemon, and fish roe.
Oh, there's caviar on that there
Yep.
situation. I can see
What,
it.
Yes.
What is fish roe?
That's caviar, basically.
Oh, okay.
And
It's absolutely gross. It tastes like little balls.
Well, it's
Well, what do balls taste like?
there's
Oh,
I'm pretty sure they heard it.
but it's usually served on like a crisp, like bread bite. So, if you would like to try Toast Skagen, go to this side of the room. If you do not want to try Toast Skagen, go to this side of the room.
I will try it, but I don't want to try it. Like, does that
Okay,
make sense?
if you want to try it, you're on this side. If you don't want to try it, it's something you will not like search out for.
I will not search this out.
Okay. Okay, the next is an oat milk latte.
This I will try.
So a lot of people in Sweden are extremely health conscious. They said most people, if you sit,
Sorry.
you're good.
Nutty taste.
So,
Are you trying to connect the dots?
okay, so they said if you like start talking with someone who's like from Sweden origin or whatever, 9 times out of 10 they will start talking about like outdoor stuff they did, hiking, like sports type stuff that they want to do or have been doing. That's just how everyone is over there. So this is more of a healthy drink, but it's got a nutty taste, but it's also slightly sweet. Yes.
Fun fact, there's a Swedish student going to Auburn. They were advertising for foreign exchange student housing.
Oh,
We have a Swedish student coming.
Who
And they were like, yeah, he wants to try football because he said the sports thing, and I was like, oh.
I was like super excited when I was a sophomore in high school. We had a Swedish student, and she, like when I posted that I was going on this trip on Facebook for my fundraising stuff, she contacted me and she's like, when you come over, let me know. I'm only like an hour away from Stockholm. I will meet you there.
Oh,
So I'm like hoping I can meet up with her.
Yeah.
It's gonna be super exciting. Okay, film joke. So it's
Well,
similar.
You didn't ask us if we wanted to
Oh.
try that one.
If you guys want to try it, go to this side. And if you don't want to try it, go to this side. It's the same side and you all moved over, so I was like, alright. Okay, so film joke. It's similar to like a sour yogurt or a buttermilk. Basically, it's sour dairy. Like the description I saw of like when you pour, this looks like a milk jug type thing. They said when you pour it out, it pretty much looks like chunky milk. So
I can't get any further over.
I can't get any further. This is typically enjoyed at breakfast meals, but they'll also put it in breads or cakes, and it's a lot like when you bake with yogurt. You can't taste the yogurt in the breads or cakes, so it will not taste like chunky milk.
Not if it's baked in something.
And then it's usually served with like cereals or grains. So while we're over there, this might be part of like complimentary breakfast because
It almost certainly will be.
Yep.
So remember, film yolk, no go.
No go. At least don't watch them pour it because dear
There's
Lord.
a film in that milk. No, I'm
Okay.
You do it.
So the very last one, this is my favorite, and I'm definitely gonna find this one, is a cannonball. It's like a cinnamon bun on steroids, they said. So it's found in pretty much any shop, especially coffee shops. Almost everyone gets a coffee and a version of this with their coffee. You can get it with, like, this one has nuts on top of it, but they're almost always flavored with either vanilla, cardamom, or saffron. And like I said, they're traditionally eaten with their very strong coffee.
Do we creamer in it. Is creamer an option?
Yes, creamer's an option over there.
Milk yolk
I
is
hate
an option.
I'm gonna go with the film no on that in my coffee. Okay. So this one is an exciting one, and then I have my resources that I use for this, and then I also have some articles that I'll share with you to put in there about like places to eat in Stockholm, especially like good breakfast places. There were a couple that were like traditional. You guys can have a seat now if you want. There were a few that were like traditional American breakfast places. 3 of them had American owners, so they do like their traditional bacon, eggs, pancakes. So, I mean, if we want to do that, I would prefer to try new breakfast items. But if you guys really want to, it's an option.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
And how was that
What was
in
the
comparison to an American McDonald's?
It was awful.
Yeah.
It was in Vienna, or no, it was in
Starts with
Amsterdam,
an
so
S.
everything
Yeah.
was in a different
that.
Like
language.
chili,
And then like
chili
their
dough.
way of like handing it out to us was totally messed up, and it was like confusing, and it was
Is it
just
food
chaotic. No, it was just like they would like be like 32, and they'd barely say it into their microphone,
Oh.
so they'd be like 32, and you'd be like, my order's
Now, did they say 32 or did they say it in
Say,
Italian?
like in their language.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like, and then on the screen it would be all in like a different language. So I was like, I just want
No pictures?
my French fries.
Yeah. Now, do the French fries taste the same?
Yeah.
Okay.
It tasted the same.
But-
It was just chaotic how we got.
Okay. Even the ketchup tasted the same?
I didn't get ketchup. I don't
Oh,
really
you don't do ketchup. Okay. So things that I know about pop from or soda, however you want to say it, from other countries. Cola. Okay. It does taste different than the pop you get from here because usually they brew it with like real sugar or sugar cane as opposed to what we do, which is high fructose corn syrup. Okay. Same thing with their ketchup and their condiments. They usually taste different because they use real sugar instead of high fructose corn syrup.
In
So.
London, I think the ketchup tasted like normal. So I tried it with my fish because I couldn't stand getting fish down without it. I'm not kidding.
Put ketchup on your fish. All right.
It was the fry that I caught. That
Oh,
I
yeah.
caught, and I couldn't do it. But the ketchup there tasted fine. So, but yeah, the pop did taste different.
Mm-hmm.
In other
Yep.
places.
Yep.
It was gross. I
Sure
know.
will. You didn't like it? Yeah.
Like that Pepsi they made with real whatever.
Well, and
Yeah, it's true.
Coke is really good with real
So
sugar.
what you're saying is next time we meet, we need to have like the real sugar Coke.
Yeah, like the you can get it in bottles usually. It's usually bottled in Mexico. I mean that's the closest we can get. I like it. I don't have a problem with it, but it definitely has a different taste than what you would be used to. Okay, well, class is over, pretty much. But here is the thing. Okay, we need to discuss. Eric, you are presenting to us next week over Parliament.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah.
You guys are in for a treat.
Yeah, you need to read up on chapter 3, and so what will happen next week is we will primarily hear Eric, and then we will immediately move into finishing chapter 2, and we'll try to get through all of chapter 3. So we'll smash a lot of information into a very short amount of time. We need to get done with this book so we can move on to other things
I'll only
that are out
be
there.
about 15 minutes.
That's good. That's fine.
I could cut it shorter.
Nah, don't cut it shorter. Yeah, once we get our flight arrangements and once we get done with the book, we'll start talking more about specifically exactly what we need to pack, what that looks like. We might even bring in our EF expert and have her do like a Zoom type meeting with us to answer any of your questions that you might have. It's going to happen. So 85 days. That's what they say. That's what they say, right?
86 days till I turn 21.
How many? Yeah, 86 days till we turn 21.
You can get,
If you want, I can make a PowerPoint too. I can do like a different presentation as well as my other presentation on what to pack and what not to pack and things that you specifically need.
Yeah, that would be fine. I know for sure you will need an adapter,
Yeah.
a European adapter, because
Amazon or Walmart. But pretty cheap.
European adapter.
well, so
So
it's the plug-in piece.
Plug-in looks different.
Yeah, because the plugins are different, and I would try to get the universal version because every country might be a little different. Okay, because they're like in Paris it was like a Y plug-in where you had to actually turn the prongs of your plug-in. There are other ones where it's just like 2 circle prongs as opposed to what we have, which are rectangular in shape. They're actually spheres. So. Yeah.
In Finland, so.
What do they look like in Finland?
They look the same as Sweden.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, you definitely have to have that to charge. Your items will still charge. Just make sure it has a USB port to it, and you'll be good to go. Yeah, that's about it on that. Other things that you'll need for sure: your passport, a copy of your passport. Your copy of your passport, you want to make sure that you leave in your suitcase. Okay. So that way, for whatever reason, if you lose your passport, you don't lose your passport and the copy of your passport as well. Just a second,
It's
sorry.
going insane.
Sweet.
It's looking right at me. Yeah.
So chapter 3 we'll talk. We'll get into next week. We'll hear from Eric, and if you guys have any questions, let me know. Discussion questions. You guys are doing great on those. Good job. Keep it up. Good job. Yeah. So we didn't have one last week. We didn't have a discussion question last week, so don't worry about that because we missed class too many times in a row for me to come up with one for you guys. So, but we will have one tonight. I'll try to get and put this guy up and get your discussion question up. So if you guys don't have anything else, have a wonderful evening. Now would be a great time to practice your sleeping. Just saying.